Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Such a morning, right?
I'm John Palacio.
And I'm April Martinez. Good morning, Belize.
Thank you for joining us this morning. It's a cool Wednesday morning out, a rainy one here in the city, but nonetheless, it's Thursday.
It's Thursday, I know.
It's
weird because we're in studio.
Yeah, we're in studio and we're normally on Fridays, but what do you say to today be Thursday, Friday?
Thursday, Friday.
Yeah,
we have fun Thursday.
Friday. But we've got fun conversations for you, that much we could tell you. We're not sure as to what the weather is in your neck of the woods, but like we mentioned, here in the city, we've been getting rains ever since last night. And so therefore, it makes for a mucky day, might be a flooded day on some streets in Belize City, being that it's still raining out. But whatever the situation is, wherever you are, give thanks for the fact that you're in this beautiful country we call Belize. April, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm doing well, actually. That's a lie. I really never wanted to talk this morning. I really think there should be a law that if it's raining and you're cozy in your bed, just chill for like the next hour.
And you drive from Belmopan, how was that?
Raining.
It was a rainy one.
It was like foggy, probably up to Cotton Tree, and then rain and drizzle the entire way through.
Man. But hey, you know what? We're in Belize. We're known for that. We're in the tropics, and so therefore we're going to get some rain here and there. But it is a blessing for some, our farmers, and of course for providing crops to our country. So it is a blessing in disguise for many things. Speaking of many things, what we do, the first order of duty for our show is always to break down to you what we find interesting in last night's newscast, or if there were any big stories leading up to this morning. And yes, there is. Yeah,
I think one of the bigger stories still surround the lifting of the curfew. And, I mean, maybe you call it what you will when it comes to media highlights, right? Yeah. But so far, I think it was last night that there were back-to-back murders. One in Ladyville first, I believe, and then the other one in Belize City. And, some people are questioning whether or not that is because now the curfew has lifted, and if we're going to be seeing more of these cases spike up at night. Yeah. Right? Because we've been having these things during the day.
We've been having these things during the day. As a matter of fact, I think about 2 weeks ago, there was a shooting in Belize City downtown area, on Albert Street, and that person succumbed thereafter. Yeah. And so, I'm right with you in terms of the thought of what people might think because of the lifting of the curfew, meaning that there might be a spike or will be a spike in criminal activities in Belize City. I beg to differ from last night's situation. I think it was very early. It was about 7:40, the first one in Ladyville, the second one in Belize City at about 8:25, somewhere around there. That's the report that we were given. And it has nothing to do with the curfew. It wasn't during curfew hours or what we knew to be curfew hours. Curfew was actually between 12 midnight to 4 a.m. This was very early last night. The shooting from last week was 10 o'clock in the morning, a week before actually, 10 o'clock in the morning downtown Belize City. I mean, come on.
Yeah, we've had this conversation already that crime will happen whether, if it wants to, it will happen. It doesn't matter the time or of the day. But we did, I think there was I don't think it was last night. I think it was a couple days ago where the Compol had said that now that the curfew is going to be lifted, that they might try to have more patrolling and security late at night so that people feel a little bit more secure, a little bit more safe. I don't know the details about how that is going to happen, but one thing that we have talked about consistently on this show is the lack of manpower that we do have in this country when it comes to, other than resources, when it comes to having enough people to secure a certain area or enough people to patrol. We don't have it.
Look, you know what? I feel even if we had 1 million police soldiers on the street, crime is crime.
That's true.
And so the onus of criminal activities is on the people. Because one, somebody is upset with somebody else or territorial about something and then eventually want to carry out a criminal act because they want to keep their territory, or drugs, or money, or hard feelings because of family. That's one. Two, if you see something, say something. And for this reason, I say the onus of such thing is definitely on the people. There's only so much that the police force can do. I'm not, Sarah, I'm not a butt for the police, but I'm just saying that anytime something like this happens, somebody knows something.
Yeah.
So if you know something, then come on out and say something. We have to be able to police ourselves. That's the only way we're going to slow things down.
I think other ways or other structures that I think the police are trying to, or solutions that the police are trying to make, are also to revamp and restructure their witness protection program.
Yes.
For the same reason. You know,
Yes.
if you see something, say something, but people are scared to say something. And, you know, I always feel like when these things happen, somebody did see something.
Yes.
This country is small. This country is too small for you to have not seen something. I think it reminds me of the break-in that they had where they stole the Toyota. This was last week.
And yes.
They caught them. They caught the perpetrators driving off in the vehicle,
Yeah.
you know, and that was because somebody
Somebody
made that
saw
report.
something, somebody saw something,
Yes.
somebody knew something, and this is the reason why, you know, when the compol is on and he continues to say these things, we must adhere to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's hurtful to families to know that they've lost a loved one, but
Yeah.
somebody must have known something. And I'm not saying that maybe directly in the family. I'm saying somebody who was close to the perpetrator, or somebody who might have been in the area, but they want to save face as well.
Yeah.
And so therefore they might not be able to say something or not want to say something because they want to make sure that they're protecting their family. So I can't blame them there. But at the same time, the onus of crime is on the people. It's the same as the coronavirus. You know, we are the ones that are taking it everywhere we go.
Yeah, it's our
Do we adhere
responsibility.
to the rules? You know, it's our responsibilities and responsibility. And so therefore, we are the ones to blame for the most part. Last night's criminal activity, you know, these things, during curfew hours, there were shootings in Belize City or across this country. There were traffic accidents. But the people must be able to protect themselves for the most part.
Do you think also I mean, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate as well, but I think also the people feel that nothing comes out of it, you know, and I don't know if that's the reality across the country, but sometimes we feel like we make a report, we file a complaint, and we don't see those results getting done the way we probably would like them to. Right?
That's another thing.
And that's another thing. And so people are just like, you know what? Then I'll be out in like 2 weeks. So it don't matter if I do something or I say something.
But I asked the question again.
Matter.
It does matter.
Yeah.
Yes, it does matter. So we do have a low conviction rate. But is it that the police is not doing their investigation? Or is it that the police is actually doing their investigation, April, but
we're not
people aren't
complying.
saying anything? So these are the questions that we must continue to ask ourselves. Are we at fault? Or is the fact that these people are out there trying to do their jobs? Remember, there are only so many police members out there, and they're good police people and they're bad police people as well. Yes, like everywhere else.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that should give us the onus to go on out there and want to take one another's or each other's lives.
Take the justice into your own hands. Yes.
Last night, the first person murdered last night was in his 20s.
Yeah.
The second one was in his 50s.
Yeah.
So how do you piece that together? So my thing is this, from last night criminal activity, if you see something or if you know something, then let's try to change that today and say something.
Absolutely.
Give information where information is due. And that's the only way we're going to convict people for what they've done in this country. We want to be safe, then we must protect ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Totally agree with you.
that's my thought. And that's just, you know, one of the news coming out of last night. Another big one was yesterday, the United Democratic Party lost one of their stalwarts, lost a big contribution to their success within their party. And that was none other than Herbert Panton, also known as Herbie. I listened to an interview yesterday actually, by the UDP's chairman, party chairman,
Yeah.
and he was right. Everybody know Herbie to be a street speaker. Herbert said it like he knows it, and they loved him for that, because he backs down from no word. He minces no word. He will tell you how he feels. But he was the type of person, you love me for who I am. Cheerful guy, cool. Look, cucumbers are jealous when Herbert come around. But when he came around, because of how cool he was, willing to help, tell you that this is wrong because that was wrong.
And he's
or
very
this
supportive
is
of his
or
wife as
what
well.
or what you need to do, this is how you correct it. You know, and the UDP lost him. Belize lost him yesterday. And it was a sad day. It is a sad time.
Very unfortunate, you know, very sudden. He died from a heart attack, and you know that comes with its challenges health-wise. We were just talking about hypertension and heart failure and heart problems and heart diseases in the country just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's a tragedy that he had to leave us in that way.
Yeah, yeah. But it is something that, you know, like we mentioned, plagues our country, especially with respect to our men. I've got to say, 2 weeks ago, today being Thursday, 2 Thursdays ago, I lost my stepfather to a heart attack as well. And, you know, it brings to mind what I must do as a man to try and protect myself, my health. And
Yes.
we're talking here big, healthy people, or at least so we feel healthy. And many a times we've got Dr. Cuellar on here, we've got a lot of doctors on here to say, you know what? Don't wait for the last minute or wait until you feel something. Do your checkup on a yearly basis to find out what your situation is. If there is something out, you know, within the body that's not clicking, your body might not be telling, but at the same time, something is wrong.
Yeah.
So, you know, condolence to the Honorable Tracy Teager Panton on the loss of her husband and her best friend. You know, this guy, swear, he's always a push with that machinery. We know that Tracy is going for party leader on March 27th within the UDP's convention and their party. And we could only wish the family the very best.
Yes.
And the question is, though, April, and I know we need to wrap up. The question is, will it affect her run for leader?
I think it might motivate her to continue, because he was one of her biggest supporters. You know, he was out there campaigning with
Yes.
her and you know, getting the word out and gathering support for her. And so I think that if anything, this might motivate her to keep going for him, you know?
Yeah.
So hopefully that is what we see, and hopefully that we wish her the very best, and of course condolences on behalf of all of us here.
Great condolence.
on the family.
On behalf of Channel 5, we do issue deep condolence to the Honorable Tracy Teager Panton. And that's just a piece of what we know from last night's newscast. We invite for you to check out our newscast every weekday evening from 6 p.m. live right here on 5.
Yes.
But it is that time of the morning whereby we move on. We've got some housekeeping to do here,
Yes.
which is to provide to you next the eye opener taken from dailyarm.com, some motivation from dailyarm.com, and it goes like this. April, you ready?
I'm ready.
Every morning I ask you that question. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, so here we go. When we hide and try to be invisible and unseen by all, we're only really hiding from ourselves. At times, we all wanted to crawl under a rock and hide away from the world. We may have preferred to be invisible rather than let other people see us or notice that we exist. This desire not to be seen often happens when we are feeling very hurt or angry or simply weary of the world. And while we may console ourselves with the defense that we are shy or an introvert or a loner, we may actually be hiding. Stepping out of the wings and letting your light shine is actually a way to serve the planet. We each have a responsibility to contribute to our community, and we do this when we let ourselves be seen. It doesn't do anyone any good when we try to hide. We're all beings of light, and we're here to light the way for each other. When we let ourselves shine, we become a bright mirror that others can see their own reflected brilliance through, and they can't help but want to shine also. Shine your light onto the world and onto the world. Bless those around you by sharing your gifts and watch the universe glow.
I feel like none of me and you can't relate to this.
You think so?
Since when you try to hide from the world, John?
But you
No. Let me not go into that this morning. No, I do feel like sometimes it doesn't have to necessarily mean that you're an introvert, but sometimes we don't have that confidence to provide maybe the good things that we want to see in the world, or maybe share our gifts with the world, because maybe we feel like it's not going to contribute to much, or we feel like maybe somebody's going to criticize or judge that light, and so we tend to shy away, hide it, and keep it to ourselves. Something as simple as a musical talent or a creative talent that you might not want to express with anybody because you feel like it's not worthy or it's not good enough.
Yeah.
And you never know if you are that person that will inspire the uninspired with your talent or with your gift.
Yeah.
So try to make that step forward and share it with everybody.
April, I love the way you summed it up, because it is true, and I like the fact that it alluded to the fact that maybe you're not an introvert, maybe you're not shy, maybe you're just hiding from the world. But if you bring out what you feel is necessary for you to be brought out, it might put you in a different realm. Maybe you are actually the shining light that somebody needs, and for this reason, I'm totally cognizant of it, and that's why when you said like, how dare you shy away from, you ever shy away from the world? There are times I do, because I'm only human, but at the same time, I do think that maybe what I feel or what I put out there might just be that added oomph that somebody needs to go throughout their day.
And it works.
You think so?
Yes, man.
Yes. But that's the eye-opener taken from dailyarm.com.
We hope you were
What you could do, you could always log on there, and what you could do is have the conversation within the confines of your office, your space, or with the family, and ask the questions. You never know. It might just have the information you need to get by.
Yes.
All right? It's raining here in the city. Let's see what the weather folks are going to say, if it's going to be throughout the weekend, if it's going to be a rainy Belikin Naruta Mai, if you need to carry along your rubber boots.
Umbrella.
Or your umbrella. Let's see what's going to happen. The forecaster is on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And how are you today?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you all doing?
We are doing just great.
Even with the little rain this morning?
Even with the little rain this morning, because forecaster, I'm cognizant of the fact that we need corn, and we need rice, and we need beans, man. And I like rice and beans.
Leave it to you to always be positive.
But let's get on into it. Is this going to be the trend for the weekend? Let's start with the general situation. What should we expect?
Okay. All right. Conditions are relatively moist as we speak, but the moisture should decrease later today and tonight.
Okay. And the 24-hour forecast?
We're expecting skies to be cloudy at times today. The sun might peep out off and on, but generally cloudy, with a few light showers over some coastal areas this morning, then mostly over central and southern portions of the mainland this afternoon.
Wow.
By tonight, like I said before, the moisture will decrease, so we're expecting partly cloudy skies with only isolated showers.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's still going to be muddy out there. But nonetheless,
it doesn't rain hard. It doesn't get heavy rainfall.
Okay.
Right? So.
All right. So it's just to soak up a little.
That's right. That's
Excellent.
right.
So let's talk about the winds. Where will they be blowing from, and at what not?
Okay. East to northeast, from the east and the northeast at 5 to 15 knots, and the sea state light chop.
All right. Temperatures for today and tonight?
Okay. Highs today, 83 along the coast, 88 inland, 72 up in the hills. Lows tonight, 74 along the coast, 66 inland, 60 degrees up in the mountains.
Wow, I could imagine what's going to happen, or how it's going to be in the mountains, because 70-something and everybody pull out their jacket.
That's right.
But let's get on into the outlook. This is what we've been looking forward to, the outlook of what it's going to be for the next few days.
Okay, for the next few days, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're expecting mainly fair weather. little or no rain. Showers, if any, will be isolated.
All right. You're telling
I'm
us.
very wary about those isolated showers.
Well, we're so thankful that you were able to join us this morning to provide to us the good news.
Thank you, sir, and you're welcome.
All right, thank you.
Goodbye.
Well, April, now we know exactly what to expect with the weather.
It might not be a rainy
It might not be a rainy Ruta Maya. Maybe just the perfect weather condition for some photo finishes. No?
Yeah.
How do you say?
I always feel like this is predictable in a little way, but then weather is also unpredictable.
All right.
Ruta Maya is always generally rainy Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah.
Sun over in one sun.
Over.
Let's move on. Let's let you know exactly what to expect with the show for today. As a matter of fact, the first segment is going to be
via Zoom. We're going to be talking to our friends in San Pedro. Marlene and Paul are going to be providing a recap of the 33rd Intersessional Meeting of Heads of Government of Caricom.
All right.
It's our first conversation with them this morning. They're going to be joining us via Zoom. So we get all of the highlights of the past 3 days with them.
All right. In the second segment for this morning, it's going to be all about UNFPA. Their Caribbean director will be in with us to talk about the Women's Month and UNFPA's newly approved program for 2022 through to 2026.
Nice. And then, of course, our last conversation is something I'm very excited about. Not that I'm biased or anything, but the University of Belize will be talking to us about their new contracted project to design and implement a climate risk information system. So
wow.
we're very excited about that.
All right, so we're all excited about all the topics for this morning. We've got to take that break, but just before we do, I've got some birthday shout-outs. Shans, I never sent you no picture. It just came to my mind. My apologies. But I'd like to say happy birthday and belated birthday to Diani Pratt. That's like a sister to me. She's like a sister to me out of our office there at Sakizmi on King Street. Happy birthday, happy belated birthday to you, D, coming from the entire team. We love you so very much. My brother Erwin Arnold, his birthday as well. Belated birthday greetings to you, my brother. Here is to wishing you all the very best from your brothers group. Wishing you nothing but the very best. And my little brother again, or cousin you could call him, is Trezane Casimiro. His birthday, would have been on the 29th of February. Okay. But this year I don't want to leave here. So that was on the 1st of March, right?
Wow.
Oh, him every day. I can remember him, man, just man, lying down there on the chair. Oh my goodness. Bundle up, wrapped up in a bundle. But he's a big guy now. Triz, all the best to you. We love you so very much from the entire family, wishing you nothing but the very best. I don't think I miss anybody out.
I mean, you had a long list today.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. We're going to take the break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Paul and Marlene out in Zoom. They're in La Isla Bonita. That's when we come back. Stay with us.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank contactless MasterCard debit card. Introducing our standard debit and MasterCard Platinum debit cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Video demand. Coming soon.
The Social Security Board, in collaboration with the Labor Department, takes this opportunity to remind insured persons of the requirements for compensation when on sick leave. Any employee who has worked with an employer for at least 2 months is entitled to 16 working days of sick leave with full pay every year. This is how it works. Upon approval of a sickness or injury benefit claim by SSB, 80% of the employee's weekly insurable earnings is paid as a Social Security benefit, and the difference in the employee's salary is paid by the employer. This is to ensure that the employee does not suffer any loss of wages when ill. After 16 days, compensation for sick leave is paid as a Social Security benefit only. Some conditions apply. This message is brought to you by the Social Security Board and the Labor Department. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
For low-cost television advertising, have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you save valuable time and money. Call us today at 223-0146 or visit us at our offices on Pony Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
Reduce your risk of viral illness like the flu or the coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing or sneezing with a tissue. Throw away, then wash hands immediately. Avoid close contact with anyone who has the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or nearest health center and share your travel history. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
And welcome back. We're back, and we're moving now into our first segment for the morning. Now, April, this one is all about a chit-chat with Marlene and Paul. As we know, they're in La Isla Bonita, San Pedro. It is for the 33rd intersessional meeting of the heads of government of Caricom.
Yes.
We know that it's big. We know that there were a lot of discussion out of it.
Yes, it's big that we hosted it as well. It's something for Belize. It was the first in-person meeting since the start of the pandemic.
Indeed.
And of course, we'll be talking to Marlene and Paul about the conversations and the topics that were discussed and covered among the past 3 days. So I believe that they are joining us via Zoom to have that discussion with us. They're still in San Pedro, so Paul still have bragging rights. But that's okay.
So Marlene and Paul, good morning, and give us the inside scoop. Day 3 of the...
Good morning, guys.
Yes.
And, thank you for the energy coming out of that studio this morning. We appreciate it. And yes, we are still in San Pedro, and we're taking no chances with the rain today because yesterday we got caught off guard. So I heard you guys talking about the showers in Belize City. We're having it off and on here, not so much. Still beautiful skies, so we can enjoy it when it does clear up. But it is the end of the 33rd Intersessional Heads of Government meeting, and of course the day of the start of the 4th Caricom SICA meeting. And we are taking the opportunity to really catch you guys up. The press conference finished just around the same time as our newscast did last night. So I know we haven't had any chance to be able to share some of that information with you as yet. So you'll be able to see it here this morning.
Definitely. Good morning, John. Good morning, April. In San Pedro still. This morning, we're going to show you guys a few clips from the press conference and kind of discuss what the discussions that were held in the press conference, some of the questions that were asked. The press conference lasted somewhere around an hour and a half. We had participation from local media, those that were in person, as well as local media via Zoom. And then we had, of course, media representatives from Jamaica. We heard questions from Trinidad and Tobago as well. So across the Caribbean, we're tuned in to that press conference yesterday.
Yeah. And so as that wrapped up, we saw the closing press conference. Prime Minister Briceño was at the head table as the current chair of Caricom. He was joined by the Caricom Secretary General, also a Belizean, but of course she is the Secretary General. And this is actually her first in-person meeting since taking up that post as well. So that was also a special occasion for her, and having it hosted in Belize. You know, we're all about that Belizean pride. So that's where we feel exceptionally happy to see two Belizeans at that head table last night. And we had two of the other heads. We had Prime Minister Mia Mottley
and President Suriname, President Chandrika Persad Santokhi as well.
That's right, because Suriname is in fact going to be the next chair of Caricom, and they'll be hosting the heads meeting in July. So it was an opportunity to hear at least some of the decisions that were made and the outcomes of the past 2 days of working sessions. And as you know, we've been able to bring you the opening session and now the closing session, because all the work happened in closed session. So it was our first opportunity to hear exactly what was decided upon or planned in moving forward.
You know, what we don't see is the work happening behind the scene, but there's a lot going on. And at the start of yesterday's press conference, Prime Minister Briceño, the chair at this time, he basically summarized, gave a list of all the work that they've done, all the conversations they've engaged in, and all the and the decisions that they have settled upon moving forward, which includes matters on Haiti, includes matters on CSME, it includes matters on agriculture and food security as well. And so and climate change, I must add climate change, which is a big issue. And then there are also some discussions surrounding the Russia-Ukraine crisis. And so all decisions were made on all of these. And
yeah, so let's take a look at that. So the press conference started last night with a recap or an overview, I should say, from Prime Minister Briceño, who is the current chair of Caricom.
As the executive director of CARFA reminded us, we are not yet free of the virus, and it is crucial that our vaccination rates be increased. The reopening of our economies and of our education systems will be greatly assisted by an improvement in the rate of vaccination. We have agreed to mount a regional campaign to combat the disinformation that encourages vaccine hesitancy. The recovery process was also engaged our attention with the Caricom single market and economy identified as a major plank in that regard. We agreed to revive the Caricom Economic Recovery and Transformation Working Committee under the guidance of Prime Minister Motley to serve as a clearinghouse for the many recommendations being tabled and to guide the economic recovery and transformation process in the community. Representatives of the Caribbean Development Bank, the Caricom Development Fund, and the Caricom Commission on the Economy have now been included in the committee. We agreed that there was need to focus on greater production integration to help advance the CSME, and it was decided that the President of Suriname would be the lead head of government for industrial policy in the Caricom quasi-cabinet of heads of government. Congratulations, President Santoki. We look forward to your leadership in this very important area. We had a full discussion with the Prime Minister of Haiti so that we could decide specifically how the community could assist our member state in resolving the difficulties which it is facing. Our deep concern at the situation in the Ukraine is reflected in the statement that is being issued. The pain and suffering that is being inflicted on the people of Ukraine is unwarranted and a flagrant violation of international law. We continue to urge Russia to cease its attack on the country. Just as importantly, we affirmed our commitment to the Caribbean Sea as a zone of peace, bearing in mind instabilities and threats which we perceive in the region. Importantly, we welcomed the report by Prime Minister Mitchell on his excellent work on ICT and the MOU recently signed with the telecoms providers. Digitalization is the center of our future. Climate change continues to be a major issue for us, which we have agreed to put at the center of our work. This is vital. We have issued the Hamburgers Key Declaration clearly outlining our priorities and agreed to have a meeting of heads to consider this matter in depth. Finally, we looked at upcoming summits and adopted our positions on these important meetings. Colleagues, this is a flavor of the issues which we have engaged, that have engaged us over the last 2 long, fruitful days.
All right, and so there you heard the recap of the events of the last 2 days from Prime Minister John Briceño. Now, for this second bit, we will speak, you'll hear Prime Minister Briceño speak a bit about the agro-food plan for Caricom, which basically means that Caricom is discussing ways on how they can feed and keep feeding the community in a manner that is sustainable. You'll hear mentions of the fact that the President of Guyana conducted an in-depth study to see what are the foods that Caribbean nations across the region can produce and what are the needs, and so how do we meet those supply and demand. This bite specifically speaks to how Belize factors into the agro-food plan for Caricom. So listen in.
Well, certainly I think, unfortunately, President Ali had already left, or sort of asked him to be here. What he did, along with the ministers of agriculture, they did an entire study and from the different countries in Caricom to see what are the products that we can grow, and then putting it almost like in a matrix, so that where there are certain advantages that we may have, and the idea is that we can try to grow more of what we eat. For instance, we import poultry. There's no need for us to be importing poultry, or some of the greens. I mean, like corn and beans, the different meats. All of that can be grown here in the Caribbean, and Belize certainly is no exception. One of the ideas that actually Prime Minister Motley brought up, which is about the industrialization, to have a working group for industrialization policy, is also because there are a lot of products that we can grow, but we are not adding value to the product, as opposed to just selling the raw product. And that is why then we invited President Santoki to be able to lead that team. It's a comprehensive study, and we can make it available to you, and it can address the issue of food security, but also that there's a market of, I think already worth $16 billion in Caricom. $6 billion. Yeah, $6 billion market. And if we can capture, I think they're talking about 25% by 2025, and then push to capture more of that market and keep the money within the region. It will create more opportunities, more jobs, grow the economy within the region, as opposed to growing the economies in other areas.
All right, so that's the sum of what was discussed. Of course, we're going to have more in the newscast, but April and John, happy to hear your insights about the closing of the intersessional.
You know, we're excited as well. I think that one of the main focus that we have to think about as Belizeans is that we need to know the diplomatic relations that we have with our Caribbean brethren. And one of the key insights that I think I want to take away is that it's not over yet, because the SICA summit is also happening today and tomorrow. And I would love to see how Belize really is that transition of Latin America and the Caribbean. And I really would wonder, I think that would be one of my questions for the Prime Minister, how is it that we can be more united as a region, both in Latin America and the Caribbean?
I feel like, for instance, both sides definitely can benefit and should benefit from each other. Mm-hmm. Just to give my insights about these 3 days, I think the conversations that were had, the meetings that were had, very, very important, because they put a lot of things in the forefront, and that each country is able to benefit from. I listened to Prime Minister Mia Motley, and once she speaks, everybody wants to listen. But I listened to her carefully, and some of the things, or everything that was said by her, is definitely things that affects us either positively or negatively, because of what she sees and how she sees it. One of the things.
I've been getting the question a lot. Are we going to interview her? Everyone is trying to interview her, and I think if you heard that clip up yesterday of our good friend Paul here trying to get an interview. He tried very hard. She had a bilateral schedule, and because that's also what happens. I think people don't know behind the scenes. There's this formal closed session that takes place, but then very often countries will take the opportunity to come together, meet one-on-one, and discuss how they can strengthen relations or other issues that may, and those happen closed doors. They're not on schedules. We don't know. So she had some bilaterals lined up last night, but that's Paul working his hardest to be able to get an interview.
My first encounter with Prime Minister Motley here was actually during a break at the opening session. I was able to kind of chit-chat just for a little bit as she was walking out of one conversation, introduced myself, and I was a bit fanboying. I was fanboying a bit, introduced myself, and then I asked her, can I take a picture? And she was like, oh, let's take a selfie real quick. I was like, selfie? Sure, why not? She asked me my name, and of course in Bajan Rihanna style, she said, so what's your name? I said, oh, nah. Just
No, you did not
I
do that.
Oh, that's that joke. I finally get it. Okay.
But any questions from the press conference that stood out to you, Marlene or Paul, about what are the future relations that we're going to have with our brethren in the Caribbean? Any questions at all, or any statements at all that came from the other country leaders that stood out for you all?
Yeah, quite a few, and in fact, we do have some a clip coming up from Prime Minister Motley talking about the future plans. But for me, I think when we look at what solidarity and unity represents for us within this region, one of the things that cannot go understated is how important it is that as a bloc we support each other, and that has been helpful to us in many different forums, including when we talk about the Belize-Guatemala territorial dispute, when Guyana and Venezuela talk about their dispute. And as we look now at the situation happening in Haiti, the leaders of Caricom have made a decision, and you saw just a brief mention of it in Prime Minister's opening statement, that in fact they will send a special mission to Haiti, including government representatives and other technocrats, I imagine, to kind of do an assessment. And that's actually happened, or they have decided that it will happen within the next few months. So that does show a level of urgency as well. So for me, I think that's always, because it's like your good friends, right? You know, they have to have your back, and that's what we want and expect from the region. And so when you're in a tight spot, or when things get challenging, that you know you can rely on those brothers and sisters. And that's really what you know, being a part of this integrated body should be, in addition to working together, you know, building tourism together, looking at economic recovery, and helping to sustain each other's businesses by buying and selling to each other, and trying to make ourselves a more formidable region as well.
Yes, you know, Go ahead, John.
No, I definitely take from what Marlene was mentioning in terms of the relations that we should share. I think one of the big things, April, Marlene and Paul, is definitely the CSME, Caribbean Single Market and Economy, whereby we are able to take advantage of, not necessarily take advantage, but live a lifestyle or contribute to our smarts to theirs, and vice versa. Because we're one Caribbean, we're one Central America, and if we could continue to make ace on such thing, then why not? You know, and I think that was one of the biggest things that I take away from the meeting over the past few days.
You know, I came into these meetings, or I came into this thinking on all the topics that will be discussed in the CSME, the Haiti, climate change, everything. But when I got here and I began talking with representatives from across the region, I realized something. I realized that what motivates us, what inspires us, what drives us to do these things is that common identity. And I think that kind of should be downplayed. My brother, let me tell you something. These are our people. This is our family, our brothers, our sisters. And so I believe that is perhaps the most important takeaway from all of this. We all have a common identity, and it is that common identity that drives us to have each other's backs.
Indeed. And another thing.
Go ahead.
Another takeaway from yesterday, Paul, you did an interview, I think it was yesterday morning, with the Prime Minister with respect to the night before and the activities that were actually held for these folks. Because when you take away a piece of Belize in memory, knowing that we're multicultural, we've got great food, we've got great people, English speaking.
We got something to share with that one.
I can't wait for that.
There was also a response by Prime Minister Motley.
So we just want to quickly get to this. bite is from Prime Minister Mia Mottley, where she speaks on Caricom's 25 by 25 goal, 25 by 25 initiative, where the region is seeking to reduce its import bill by 25% by 2025. And I believe she also makes mention of the investment summit in May in Guyana, because if you want to import less, then you have to produce more. And if you want to produce more, then you need the capital, and that's where the investment summit comes in. And so we're going to take you to that bite.
Let me say that with respect, just to give context, the 25 by 25 came as a result of the regional agricultural ministers meeting in Bridgetown in 2018. And we indicated then that we really, as a region, needed to recognize that food and water were becoming the new oil, and that we needed to be able to reduce the volume of imports while at the same time increasing the opportunities for our agricultural sector, our farmers in particular, but at the same time seeking to do two other things. One, reduce the cost of food, and two, encourage our people to eat more locally grown food that would be better for them and would help us in reducing the bills we hope in the long run, medium to long term, that we spend in fighting chronic non-communicable diseases. There's too much diabetes, there's too much hypertension, there's too much strokes. All of these things our populations are facing. I therefore am more than happy this evening that President Ali, who has responsibility in the quasi-cabinet for agriculture and food security, was able to move with dispatch, even in the midst of a pandemic over the course of the last year, to bring together the ministers of agriculture, to work with financiers, to meet with companies dealing with possibilities for crop insurance, to deal with the barriers that you spoke about, the sanitary and phytosanitary barriers we now have to address fully. The president of Suriname is here. He will speak to those barriers too, but CAFSA, which the Caribbean Agricultural Health and Food Safety Agency, is located in Suriname, so that we recognize that this is going to require a number of things happening at the same time. We're happy that we've gotten this far. The next step is on May 19th, an investment conference in Georgetown, Guyana, May 19th to the 21st, where we seek to bring together both the public and private sector in order to determine what the investment opportunities are. Broadly speaking, we recognize that not only can we be self-sufficient in poultry in the region, we're importing, just over $200 million in poultry, US dollars in poultry a year. Two, we recognize that we can also seek to position ourselves by 2025 to be self-sufficient in food, in the feedstock, for poultry, while still having the capacity to export. And to that extent, the government of Guyana, President Ali, was able to make the point that 25,000 hectares will be needed to be dedicated to corn and soya production. And if we can do that throughout the region, not just Guyana, Guyana is more than willing, but Suriname, Belize, Jamaica in particular. And then in terms of those of us who produce poultry, there are about 5 or 6 countries that are reasonably self-sufficient within the region.
And so, obviously, there we heard from Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who gave us some insight into what that 25 by 25 goal for Caricom is, as well as a bit on the investment summit. You know, I had an interesting conversation yesterday with the Minister of Agriculture from St. Vincent. And in fact, the Minister of Agriculture from St. Vincent, as well as his Deputy Prime Minister, they, upon their arrival to Belize, they made a visit to Dangriga. And again, John, speaking of that commonality, that one community, you would know that the heritage of the Garifuna people, that the history runs deep into St. Vincent. And it was just interesting to have that conversation with them, to hear how much they were interested in being a part of the Garifuna community here in Belize and meeting the community. For the Deputy Prime Minister, he had been here on several occasions, and one of his stops every time he comes is in Dangriga. But for the Minister of Agriculture, his trip to Belize, this was his second trip to Belize, but first time to the southern community of Stan Creek. So again, I know I keep bringing it up, but it resonated with me throughout this week more than ever before. Our common identity as people across the region. But of course,
now the fun stuff, right?
What
John was asking, because everybody knows that when we follow Sean Quillen, we see him doing all these events, and he put off this whole display, and so we got the opportunity to ask. And you heard the Prime Minister yesterday.
But you know what's interesting about the Prime Minister's interview is how he was able to mix the Carifuna and Creole culture on the plate in front of him. Hudut and rice and beans.
About this hudut and rice and beans.
Oh my goodness.
Disturbs me. We have to do a vote on who else has tried that one.
I've tried hudut with rice. I mean, I've tried it, but yes,
but I never
not with
feel
rice
like
and beans.
the hudut.
Rice and,
you know, they're not hudut without the plantain.
Plantain?
They're not hudut without the plantain, and
It's
just
not hudut
sere
without the plantain.
with rice.
Yes, just coconut gravy. Yes.
I was a bit stuck on that one as well. But yesterday we got the opportunity to talk with the Foreign Minister of Jamaica as well, and in fact, she even brought up the very same point, the multiculturalism that Belize was able to display through our food. So let's go to that. Want to share with Belize?
Just that your country is absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to come back and enjoy it more. It's the second time, but the first time was the Belmopan. And I didn't get any time to see anything at all. Now just flying over to San Pedro, just seeing your pristine, beautiful waters, I absolutely have to come back.
So let me get your thoughts on the cultural night that you experienced last night.
Well, I can put it very simply for you. I ate too much.
Oh, man.
Everything was wonderful. I thought it was the most beautiful celebration of multiculturalism because there was a Creole food, there was a Maya food, there was the Spanish and what was it? Garifuna. Everything was there and everything was delicious. I think it's one of the best ways to experience culture through food. So we thank the government of Belize for their hospitality. Thank you.
All right. And, of course, we'll have a full recap of the closing yesterday in today's newscast.
Indeed.
But we have to shift gears because that's literally what's happening around us right now as the room is being prepared for the 4th Caricom Sika Summit. And we saw, starting yesterday, the arrivals of the Sika representatives. We had the arrivals starting in the afternoon.
So we had the arrival of the Vice President of El Salvador, right, Marlene?
That's right. His Excellency Felix Ulloa. Thank you. I'm sorry. It didn't want to come off my tongue just now. But of course, he is here. We also had the Costa Rican president, His Excellency Alvarado Quesada.
Quesada, correct. And then going into the evening, into the night, we had the arrival of the Minister of Foreign Affairs for Honduras, His Excellency Eduardo Garcia. And then we had...
So the clips are up now. That's the first arrival still that we're looking at. Yeah.
El Salvador.
So this is the Vice President of El Salvador. And as we saw on Sunday and Monday, they're, of course, greeted and given a diplomatic welcome to the country. The Guard of Honor is there, and they will be received by CEO of Foreign Affairs, Amalia Mai. All right, so we have the next arrival coming up. Let's look that one up. That is the President of Costa Rica, His Excellency Alvarado Quesada. People will recall that we had the opportunity to speak with the Minister of Costa Rica on his visit to Belize, and he had told us that his president was very excited to be a part of the summit that was coming up, and now the time is here. This is his arrival last night. So, as we look at the arrivals that we recorded yesterday, we have two more that we're going to show you for Honduras and Panama. And within the next hour, we should have the arrival of the President of Guatemala, His Excellency Alejandro Giammattei. He will also be attending. Remember, a part of the plan for the Caricom SICA Summit was to have the participation of the United Nations Secretary General. Unfortunately, he had, given the circumstances of what's happening around the world, specifically the crisis in Ukraine, he was not able to make it. But there you have it. That is the President of Costa Rica arriving in Belize. Very different from the boat arrivals we saw on Monday, right?
Yeah.
Not as much fighting with the wind. All right, so the next arrival is that. We have it lined up? Yeah.
Yes, the next arrival is that of the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Honduras. So we have that lined up for you. That is His Excellency Eduardo Enrique Reina Garcia. So he arrived just before 6:30 p.m. last night, and that's going to be in the Caricom press conference. The Caricom press conference was ongoing as Caricom wrapped up their meeting, and in a few moments outside, His Excellency. And now we have our final arrival. So this is her arrival.
So as we said, the final arrival for today's Caricom SICA Summit will be that of President of Guatemala, His Excellency Alejandro Giammattei. That should be happening within the next hour, and the opening session for the 4th Caricom Summit starts at 9 a.m. We'll, of course, have it live. You'll be able to see it on Channel 5, on Government of Belize press office page, and on Caricom page and UETV. So
and then,
just about anywhere you want to watch it, right?
And then, of course, you can catch coverage of last night's more full coverage of last night's press conference, as well as today's happenings in our newscast at 6 p.m.
So, of course, this is going to be a shorter, this is a summit, so this is going to be a shorter time frame. We're looking at about a half a day of meetings, discussions and presentations on the agenda, very similar, because these are global issues that we're facing. You're still talking about COVID-19, you're talking about climate change, and so there's no country that's been unaffected. It's about being able to work together in how our recovery plan can unfold.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. All right, Paul, but it's time for us to get back to work, and it's time for you guys to get back to your conversations. I understand you have another regional conversation lined up with...
Yes, we do. We do have...
with the Caribbean director.
Yes, we do. We have that conversation coming up next, and we wish you guys all the best out in La Isla Bonita. Do enjoy as we transition from that on to a conversation with UNFPA Caribbean Director, who will be talking to us about Women's Month and, of course, UNFPA's newly approved program for 2022 to 2026. We'll be joined by Alison Drayton, the Caribbean Director, when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Universal Hardware is excited to announce our Friends and Family Sale from Thursday, March 3rd to Saturday, March 5th. Your opportunity to enjoy deep discounts on Leaf and motorcycles, Echo chainsaws, Shindaiwa brush cutters, Makita power tools, Toolcraft hand tools, Easy Care paint, and much more. Grand raffle on March 5th. Mark your calendar. Center Avenue, Spanish Lookout. Universal Hardware, the preferred solutions provider.
Staying connected with your loved ones while traveling is even more important during this global pandemic. With Digi, this is even easier and more convenient with our data roaming plans. Postpaid customers have instant access to mobile data within 41 destinations worldwide. With 3 affordable plans, starting at only $28, it's easy to instantly connect via your favorite digital platform. To purchase your data roaming plan, contact Digi before your travel date. If you are already abroad, you can contact us via email at digihelp@livedigi.com or via WhatsApp at 608-8888. For more information, visit our website at livedigi.com/digicel or visit a Digi store near you. You can roam, stay safe, and stay connected with Digi.
If you're looking for low-cost television advertising, have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you save valuable time and money. Call us today at 223-0146 or visit us at our offices on Pony Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news.
To open your eyes, and we're moving now into our second segment for today. This one is a conversation that we'll be having with UNFPA. The Caribbean director is in with us. He'll be talking to us about Women's Month and, of course, UNFPA's newly approved program for 2022 to 2026. In with us is none other than Alison Drayton. Love the name, by the way. She's actually the Caribbean director of United Nations Population Fund. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, John. Good morning, April. And thank you very much for having me.
You are looking lovely this morning. Yes. I'm loving the energy, that much I could tell you. But let's get folks inclined primarily with UNFPA and the work that you do. So tell us, what is it?
Okay, so the United Nations Population Fund is the piece of the UN that deals with the issues of population dynamics.
Okay.
So we are known primarily as the Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency.
Okay.
And a lot of my more unkind colleagues refer to us as the Condom Agency. But beyond our considerable work in that area, we deal with population dynamics. So for the purpose of the Caribbean, some of the key issues that we look at are migration, aging, the whole kind of demographic movement that across the region.
Okay.
And then in Belize, if I can go into some of the things that we have supported in Belize.
Yes.
We're supporting the government on the revision of the 2002 Sexual and Reproductive Health Policy. During COVID, we had in place mobile I keep saying clinics and it's not, mobile health centers to go out into the communities so that, you know, a lot of women stopped accessing health services during COVID.
During COVID, yeah.
Well, I should say a lot of people, but I mean, disproportionately it hits women for obvious reasons. And so those mobile health centers provided counseling, services, supplies, polite name for condoms and other SRH issues, etc. We've also, one of the things I'm actually very proud and very enthusiastic about in terms of our work in Belize is the office here has really led in the region in working with youth.
Yeah.
My head of office here has put a lot of her personal time in, and we've worked extensively with youth, particularly disadvantaged youth, in providing, improving their capacity in leadership, in advocacy, in communications, in analysis, allowing them to impact design and management.
I do have a question for you. When it comes to the teenage pregnancy rate, right? Belize is one of the countries with the highest teenage pregnancy rates. What is the UNFPA doing in terms of educating when it comes to contraceptive and family planning?
You are sadly correct. Yes, the Caribbean as a whole, may I say, has the second highest adolescent pregnancy rate in the world.
Wow.
Which is shameful because we are a middle-income region, and the only region in the world that is higher than the Caribbean is sub-Saharan Africa.
Wow.
And it has a lot to do with, we have the combination of very conservative values and a tremendous discomfort of parents, of educators to talk about sexual and reproductive health issues. And everyone is very protective of the space, but nobody is doing it, if you see what I mean. Now, Belize is also one of the countries that the age of consent is 16. The age at which you can legally access services is 18. I have, in previous visits, raised this as well, because I don't have to point to the inconsistency. If you're considered old enough to have sex, I really have never been convinced by any argument that says that you can't then decide on the outcome of that on your body. But to be clear, because we work within national legal frameworks, we are respective of that space. And what we have been working very hard on is, as you know, there is, as part of the Health and Family Life curriculum that is administered, on one of the modules, the issues of sexual and reproductive health is in there, comprehensive sexuality education. And we actually, going forward into the new program, are putting a lot of work into looking at how that component can be taught well to international standards with rigor, and it has to be age appropriate.
Yes. How are you communicating with communities, small communities that maybe are in the more rural areas and rural parts of the countries? How do you plan to get that education to them?
Well, before, it would always be very much, we do the peer-to-peer, the training of trainers as it is. So historically, we have worked with a group of peer educators who then go back into their communities and transfer, and we're still doing that. So we have just recently worked with 100 peer educators who've gone back into their communities, and through that lens, 300 more have been trained. But I would say that COVID has really taught all of us that beyond that, webinars work, Zoom meetings work. Very tedious if this is what you spend your day doing, but you can reach a much larger group of people affordably, which has always been the hindrance. And then, of course, the mobile health centers that we've put in place, which were specifically because under COVID, you saw that the rural areas suffered the most in terms of the diminution of service.
Because they're not able to actually come on out to access. You're not able to leave your office to actually go on out to access. We didn't know how to put this together. But I'd like to roll it back slightly, because it's alarming to know that especially when it comes to the Caribbean or Central America being the highest rate of pregnancy in adolescents, teenage girls. What do we say, or how do we feel? Or let me bring that again for you. What do you think is actually plaguing us for such thing to be happening? Do you think that it's culture? Do you think that it's the top down of? What's the situation?
I think very much culture. The Caribbean is very conservative. It is. We are, let me say, I am from the Caribbean. I'm from Guyana. We are very old-fashioned in our values. Very early 20th century. There's a tremendous discomfort of parents talking to their children about sex. And all too often, this conversation happens when, I don't know at what age it happens with boys. Maybe you can share that with us, John. But with girls, if it happens when girls start menstruating. I'm going to point out that the data shows that often, by then, many children of both genders have already had some kind of initiation. And what I say all the time, because I come in and, there's obviously discomfort in many of the ministers I speak with, and I point to the adolescent pregnancy rates. And also, even less discussed is the amount of abuse, of sexual abuse that happens that in the region to very young children.
Yeah.
And it does have to be age appropriate. But if you do not talk, children are blank slates. They have no idea what is right and what is wrong. That's what life gives you.
Yeah.
And so if you need to talk to children as young as 4 or 5 about, UNICEF has done tremendous work on this in curriculum development on good touch, bad touch. Because when a 5-year-old or 6-year-old girl gets asked by, Uncle Henry to come sit in their lap, if that child has no context, all actions are equally innocent or equally acceptable. And we have some horror stories.
Yeah.
So it does require a tremendous culture change. The other thing, just to say, so parents, a lot of them have this discomfort. I mean, I will mention, when I started menstruating, both my parents sat down, but the parent that explained to me what this meant was actually my father.
Wow.
So, and I see April saying same thing. We're going to get to you, John, because now we want you to share. But also, teachers are tremendously uncomfortable in terms of culture change. Parent-teachers associations, I think, are critical in having a discussion as to where the comfort level is, and then building that understanding. And in fact, I was asking the Ministry of Education, is there anything in place to put a kind of national umbrella parent-teachers association in place, because this really helps with curricula development.
Yeah.
And faith-based organizations, because churches are so important in this region. I will tell you, I have never spoken to the head of any church that has not immediately been on board on the need to deal with this.
Yes.
But again, in a way that respects the cultural norms. To use a very old-fashioned phrase, you can't make any advancement if you frighten the horses before you begin.
Yeah, I mean that does show testimony, because in Belize most of our education institutions are affiliated by some church-based institutions.
Yes.
So I mean, we do have government schools, and even so, the curriculum is straight across the board, whether it be a religious institution, school-based, or a government school. So when the conversation comes about talking about sex education, I can't tell you if I got that in primary school or even in high school.
Yeah.
And in high school, they would just kind of give you the run-up of biology. This is the human reproduction system, and that's it. And they don't teach you how to protect yourself. They don't teach you how to protect others around you. Yes, John, go ahead.
In stepping in, for the most part, for a lot of parents, especially because of brought up, it's taboo talk.
Yes, it is.
We don't know how to initiate the conversation because we were not taught how to initiate the conversation. Yeah. And I think that's where we need to start in terms of how do you have that conversation with your daughter or with your son? Because it is important, the conversation to your daughter, to your son, as it is for your daughter. Yes, he does not menstruate, but at the same time, he plays a very important role within the household. So, from your perspective, what's a conversation starter within a household, and what age do you say would be the appropriate age to have these conversations for this to be rolled out within society?
Well, before I answer that, and with genuine curiosity, John, because it just prompted me to think: at what age did your parents have their conversation with you, and was it both parents? And how was it grounded? If I could ask.
Great question. I learned it in school.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you learned it in school. As I've said already, I think. Tailored for age appropriate, this is a conversation that needs to start very early and not be a one-off. Because, not implying that child molestation is overweening problem in the region, but we have a problem. So even as young as 4 and 5, I think some version of good touch, bad touch. Come to me if you don't feel comfortable. Saying to one's children, both girls and boys, look, if Auntie Elise or Uncle Edward is hugging you and you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to, just because of the age difference. The issue, the lesson to our children of you own your body. Nobody has the right to touch you in a way that makes you feel comfortable, uncomfortable.
But this is, I really like that you went there, because this is this is one that people should understand, that the child has a voice. They've got their voice as well. But you realize that in a household, your mom or your dad would say, "That's their uncle, man. Best you go give him a hug or sit on his lap." You have to know your uncle. You have to know your auntie.
You have to know your family.
So I feel that as parents, again, we feel that our children are actually our possession, when in reality they're not. We're a conduit for these children to actually go ahead and live and go forth and multiply. And so people need to understand this. It's very important to give a child their voice.
Yes, it is, absolutely.
And to build, may I just say, looking across my issue, because I work in the international arena, I just also want to make the connection of giving your children that voice and that confidence and how it plays into their accomplishments in life. One of the things I do, I mentor and support whenever asked people who are applying for international positions. And my consistent feedback is have more, I just said it to someone last night, puff your chest out a little more when you're describing yourself in your CV. We are raised in the region to be modest, to think of our accomplishments not as accomplishments, but this is how you live your life, to a standard of excellence, which is wonderful, and I love that. But that you need to, the 21st century, we need to push forward more.
Yes, we do.
Sure, go ahead. Sorry, I wanted to bring that, reel that back into the topic of discussion, kind of segue, I'll leave it, into International Women's Day, right? And how all of these topics of discussion are going to be fit into your new program, as well as how you're going to implement it for International Women's Day. We're in a Women's Month, but there is International Women's Day, which is March 8th, and so we want to know a little bit about how you're going to put all of these interesting topics and ideas into International
Women's Day.
Well, and thank you, April, for reeling us in. But I'm going to have to follow up with both of you for more days after.
Yes.
So, just to say that globally, International Women's Day is one of the most important events, I think, that happens in the year, and it is about celebrating the contributions that women make in all the arenas that help us move forward, in economics, in social well-being, and in governance. The key roles that women play in growth and development, and the ways that we innovate, we lead, we contribute. And the fact that all too often across the world, even in very developed countries, the part of our role that is most celebrated is the caregiver, which you see particularly in this time of COVID. I'm just going to remind that we all as a globe, as governments, are committed to achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. And every analysis has shown that without achieving gender equality, we're going to fail. And the bigger the gap in any society on gender equality, the greater the likelihood of failure of that particular country.
It's hard to make up thereafter.
And so I've already spoken a bit about what we are planning as we go forward. I'm very pleased to say that the new program is significantly larger than the previous one. So for all 22 countries and territories in the Caribbean that my office covers, we have 28 million over those 5 years set. And I would also say that we've had tremendous success in the last 3 years. We've mobilized, remember, 2 of those 3 years, COVID years, we've been able to mobilize 15 million additional just in the last 3 years.
Wow.
So it is my expectation that this is going to grow. I mean, I opened this year with hearing that we just got a $6 million grant approved for work in 6 countries.
Wow.
So
congratulations there to you. We know that time is dwindling, just like that. We know that you need to go. So we're so thankful that you were able to join us this morning. Having the conversation is always a passionate one because of what we believe in and how we want to change things. So Alison Drayton, thank you so very much. Of course, the Caribbean Director of UNFPA.
We have to bring you back.
We have to bring you back, even if it's via Zoom, because this is a conversation that we must continue to have every single day so we can protect our children. Thank you.
Thank you both. This was really interesting. And, you know, do also bring back the head of my office here, Tisa Grant, who is a wonderful and passionate advocate as well.
You heard it, Shanice.
All right. We're going to head and take, we're going to take our break. And when we come back, we'll be discussing the University of Belize as they share with us their new contracted project to design and implement a climate risk information system. We've got that when we come back. Stay with us.
No make no sense at all. No kind of sense. That Belize video when I have that sign up there in China for.
That not in your China at all, that in Spanish.
You understand what it said then?
Yeah. It said wear your face mask properly, cover your nose and your mouth.
Will help prevent the spread of COVID to others. Together we could make Belize safe.
Wear your mask properly over your mouth and nose to protect yourself and others. Together we can keep Belize COVID-19 safe.
With eCash, bill payment is extremely convenient, and all utility companies accept eCash payments. What's even better? You get to split bills with your roommates, siblings, or whoever you desire. Simply open your eCash app, go to Bill Pay, tap the respective utility company, enter the information, and pay the bill. Then tap the transaction made. Tap Split the bill. Select Evenly. Send the request to who you are splitting the bill with, and get notified when they pay. Talk about making life easy and avoiding confusion. You can split the bill for restaurants, grocery stores, and for any eCash payment you make. To find your next yummy meal, hair treatment, or chill spot, simply open the app and utilize the geolocation service to see nearby businesses that accept eCash. Geolocation and bill payment make life a whole lot easier.
I'm Jada Brown. I'm strong. I am unstoppable. I am paddling for the rights of women and girls in Belize.
Hi, my name is Tina Herrera, and I'm paddling to end violence against women and children.
I'm Jasmine Armstrong, and we are paddling for all the women in Belize.
We are paddling together to break the bias.
If you're looking for low-cost television advertising, have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you save valuable time and money. Call us today at 223-0146 or visit us at our offices on Pony Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
Reduce your risk of viral illness like the flu or the coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing or sneezing with a tissue. Throw away, then wash hands immediately. Avoid close contact with anyone who has the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or nearest health center and share your travel history. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're moving now into our third and final segment for the morning. Now, this one is a conversation that surrounds UB, the University of Belize, as they're about to share with us their new contracted project to design and implement a climate risk information system. Yes. In to talk to us about it, we've got Dr. Lennox Gladden, Climate Change Officer, National Climate Change Office. I had to say all of that, you see not? Then also on the screen is Dr. Vincent Palacio, who is the interim president of the University of Belize. And also in with us is Dr. Kieran Ryan, project manager, Chris, an assistant professor, University of Belize. Oh, a lot of things, I don't know.
So many titles.
Real. But guys, good morning and welcome. So let's go on into it. And I'd like to start with Dr. Palacio here, interim president of UB. This seems to be a very big deal. And I say big deal for the fact that, one, April is excited about it. She's a part of UB. And two, for the fact that it's being rolled out with the University of Belize. That simply means that we're touching a lot of students who eventually will become leaders and channel this project on. Yes, let's start there, Doc. Good morning once again.
So true, John and April. It is my pleasure to be on the show this morning. And I'm glad to be in the company of Dr. Gladden and Dr. Ryan, who are the key executors, Dr. Ryan especially, of this very important project. The University of Belize, we are positioning ourselves to lead initiatives like these. We are positioning ourselves to assist with issues related to climate change. You may have heard this morning updates from the Caricom sessions out on San Pedro, and indeed climate change is happening. So we want to be ready. We want to be able to guide climate change issues, adoption, mitigations. We want to be able to assist in national development as it relates to climate change. So I'm very glad that the Ministry of Infrastructure, Development and Housing, through the special office, Dr. Gladden and his team, came up to us to ask and invite us to play the lead in this initiative. We do have a very strong and robust IT department, and to develop this information system, is something that we could do. And also we have a natural resources management program that looks at climate change issues. We have an environmental research institute, again, looking at these similar climate change issues. So it's a good marriage, a good relationship. And we're poised, we're positioned to come to the table to make this work. So a brief introduction. I know we do not have a lot of time. I will leave the technical conversation up to the technical experts in studio this morning.
Awesome. I would like to bring in Dr. Ryan into the conversation and talk about what the climate risk information system platform will look like. So how have you structured it, and how did you actually come up with that system in the first place?
Okay, so we're working under the guidance of the NCCO. So maybe Dr. Gladden can talk about the big picture, and I can fill in the details, the technical details.
All right, Dr. Gladden?
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. Ryan. Yes, as it relates to the overall picture, the overall goal of the platform itself, we recently updated our national determined contributions. We're finalizing our national monitoring, reporting, and verification system. So with that, we're trying to make a transition from doing these activities manually to actually digitizing it.
Okay.
For so long, we have realized, and it's not only nationally, but also regionally, there always this data gap. Right? So with that, we say, listen, we need to try our best to assist our stakeholders, right? To capture the data, to capture the information, because in the absence of that, how can we make sound decisions to combat some of the impacts of climate change? Right? So that ties into our overall global climate change agenda, to track, to monitor. We have been doing a lot as it relates to climate change within the country, but who really knows? Right?
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
And exactly where I wanted to go, Dr. Gladden, simply for the fact that everything is with a buy-in. And a lot of people might disregard climate change and say, that's just the way of the world. But in reality, it is not. So I'd like to get the importance of people being adherents to climate change.
Yes, definitely. And I always make mention that it is important as Belizeans to acknowledge, first of all, climate change. We're one of the most vulnerable countries in the world. I'm not even talking about the region. Right? We're, in some form or fashion, we have been making certain strides to combat the impacts of climate change within our daily lives. And this is something we learned even from growing up. Okay, you need to turn off the water. Don't leave it running when you're brushing your teeth. Things of that nature. Right? So all these small things that we do, we're not only looking at being socially conscious, but environmentally conscious as well. So all these initiatives, we try to hone it and package it in a language where everybody can understand how climate change is impacting them, how climate change will impact them in the future, and also how it's presently impacting them. So this is our thought process towards building a level of awareness, right? And that was key, because we're talking about partnering with the University of Belize,
of course,
right?
Yes.
We're looking futuristically, we're looking for sustainability, we're trying to be looking for a level of continuity. We're not treating this initiative, and this is why it was important, even in our discussions with Ministry of Infrastructure, and they shared the view as well. For continuity, we need to partner with institutions such as University of Belize to see the long-term goals.
Because it is everybody's business. Look, the island we live here, and it's everybody's place. Which brings us now to the big picture with Dr. Ryan. Dr. Ryan, tell us about this big picture.
So thank you very much. I'm glad you said buy-in. So one of my key objectives of being here today is to talk about that buy-in, right? So of course, to make the informed decisions, you need the data. So the data is there. So I want to talk directly to the stakeholders.
Okay.
And we have an initial list of over 55, but that will go over 100. So it's a massive scale. So we have lots and lots of government agencies, NGOs, private individuals. We have the tourism section, and we also have BWS and for-profits, right? So they all have data. So they would ask, what value would be added to their organization by joining the platform? So I have to reach out to there, and I have a couple things, right? So there's this system. There's an initial archiving platform that we've built already, and we can have, it's called Harvard Dataverse. It's open source, and we have it installed and running at the university now. And each of these organizations will have their own Dataverse where they can upload their data. And now, why would they do that? Dataverse can share not only the data, but also raw data, or it can do reports, videos, any kind of visualization.
Yeah, it's right there on the screen indeed.
Oh, yes, Dataverse. Okay, thanks. So we have this system built, and there's organizations, maybe some ministries, but by mandate, they have collected data and they have to make it available to the public.
Yes.
But this could be very hard. Some are not digitized. So part of this project is helping them digitize, convincing them that this platform is beneficial to them, and if it is open data that they are supposed to share, then they can utilize it to share it. So this is the back-end system, right? And this is what I want the buy-in for.
Okay.
I'll give you a second example. Say the NGOs want to, there's a lot of money in climate change projects.
Okay.
And to bring down that money, you have to write a proposal. And a big part of the proposal is the monitoring and evaluation. If you don't say how you're going to monitor and evaluate, you won't get the project.
Okay.
So now they could use the CRIS. So it's adding value. You're more likely to get this money if you write in that all the data will be made public through the CRIS.
Yeah.
So that's another buy-in. So this is for open data. There might be organizations that have data, but they're not mandated to share it. And that's value. That means money. They can use this system and click a button where it shares the metadata, the data about the data, right?
Yeah.
The title, where it comes from, and all of that. But if you want it, you have to click a button and it emails them, and then you come to an agreement with them. So again, it says showcasing. You don't have to give us the data, it's your data. So we're the marketplace sharing. In the future, not right now, but under the guidance of NCCO, they could monetize this, because if an individual has a drone and he collects data at a cost, he could use it as a platform, maybe later on, to use it to sell the data as well. So that's my main. I wanted to be on here so when we reach out, next week on Wednesday, we have a stakeholders meeting. So now they've heard about the project. So maybe we'll have a bit better buy-in. And that's the main reason I came today.
Okay, well, I want to get Dr. Vince back into the conversation. And I just want you to speak a little bit about how this system will be beneficial for the institution of Belize as well as the students.
All right, very, very good question and most relevant. Because our involvement, we have a population student-wise of almost 5,000.
Wow.
And hence the need to be able to sensitize our students about issues related to climate change. Also, our professors, very important as well, for them to continue this conversation, to explore more ways in which they can get involved in climate mitigation and climate adaptation. And for national development overall, April, we need to be at the table. We need to drive this conversation and not follow it. And hence, most appropriate that we are taking the lead in this.
And what about, Dr. Vincent, that drive from the students to actually want to be a part of it? Because it becomes a part of your curriculum now, but at the same time, the interest of the students is what will eventually drive this one to success. What are your students saying? How do they feel about being a part of this program?
Well, I'm not certain if they've been asked, but if they are following the news, if they are in some of their classes where conversation of this nature is happening, I am certain that there's the awareness that there's need for action regarding to climate change. So I don't have a statistic for you because I don't want it done. Maybe Dr. Ryan may be aware, but it seems like it's everybody in the country should be aware and should be concerned.
Dr. Ryan?
Yes, under the president's leadership, as soon as he found out about this project, the first question was, would UB, URI, and Central Farm use this? And he said, of course. So there's a sustainability. And you answer, what value will it add to us? So it will showcase all the research we're doing.
Yeah.
So now we have a lot of research, but it's not in a central place where everybody can see it.
Okay.
So that would be great for us as professors. The students, on the other hand, if they collect data. So if you're going to go for your master's or PhD, they're going to ask you, have you done research and published before?
Yeah.
So if the students have published to the system, and there's a new thing now with open data, you can get credit as publishing if you allow others to utilize your data to publish. So we have all these opportunities for the students. They don't know about it yet, but I'm sure there'll be a big buy-in. They're found out about it. All right.
Back to Dr. Gladden. Climate change for me is very big because then we're actually seeing the effects of it. And exactly where, you know, I wanted to ask in terms of in what ways are we seeing the effects of climate change within our country? And again, I ask these questions because of the buy-in. People need to know what's really happening so they're able to support the programs and for them to carry on the information with cognizance. So,
yes, and quickly just to weigh in on that point that was mentioned earlier when it comes to capacity building, we have also had one of the I think one of the professors or one of the assistant professors, one of the lecturers at the University of Belize, been doing a training as relates to carbon accounting.
Okay.
I think that is Mrs. Castillo. Yeah. So carbon accounting, carbon pricing, we know that's a big thing because we're talking about results, right? So we have been assisting to build that level of recognition as it relates to carbon pricing and carbon accounting.
Okay.
When it comes to the impacts that we're seeing nationally, we know previously they've been these extended droughts. Also, some of the flooding that we've been seeing. I think ending of last year, we had a team or partners working along with the 5 Cs, of course, come in to do this assessment of the coast. We visited Dangriga, Hopkins. We went as far as Barranco, right? Touched briefly on Placencia. And it was important because these are conditions, extreme conditions that are, you're looking at, it might result in a migration of certain communities, which we do.
Monkey River, one of them.
Right? These are things we want to avoid as much as possible, but we also need to understand and share what are some of the drivers of these things. And if we do not get a handle on it now, I know in the session, I think yesterday they're talking about food security. That is the risk that we're facing if we do not take these things into consideration or try to combat some of these effects. Our agriculture sector, our productive sector, it is going to take a hit. We saw it previously in that long drought, whereby the cost of production went up, and that cost was, of course, transmitted to the consumer. Right. So water and, of course, agriculture, these are two big things, not only for Caricom, but for SICA as well. So climate change, and that is also transmitted nationally, right? These are some of the impacts that we're seeing, the extended droughts, the flooding, right? It's extremely disruptive, right? So that's the social impacts that we're seeing, right? That we're trying as much as possible to adapt at this point, right? Mitigation for us is not really a high point you'd say, because we're vulnerable and we want to move away from some of the techs and actually work on implementation.
You said something very important there, and it strike the question, do you think that because we are able to adapt, we don't do much to try and mitigate these things?
We are able to adapt, yes, but again, it comes back down to a change of lifestyle, right? Because when you want to adapt to climate change, first of all, you have to make that personal choice to say, listen, first, climate change is real. It is affecting me. It's not only affecting me, it's affecting my neighbor, right? And in turn, it is affecting my entire household, my entire community, right? Naturally, as Belizeans, we're quite resilient, right?
We are.
Definitely, right? But for the most part, that is not sometimes transmitted to some of our day-to-day activities, right? Or also highlighted, right? And by not building that and not sensitizing to some of the work that we're doing as an individual, as a organization, as a media house, right? To get the message out there that climate change is real.
Indeed.
These are some of the impacts of climate change. These are some of the things that you're already doing.
I want to piggyback on that. Do you see any substantial research being done recently towards some of these problems, and are they solution-based?
Yes, I think for the most part, the one that we did recently with our partners from Cuba, the whole idea behind that is to make an intervention on the ground. We have several solutions that was derived from these studies, and this is what you call consider applied research. So we have options to actually combat the coastal erosion that you're seeing within these communities, right? So We have options, but apart from options, we're actually in the process of seeking funding from the Adaptation Fund. We have a proposal that we're trying to finalize and resubmit. I think it's June of this year, along with my team. There's Mrs. Noble and also Denise Swayze working along with Pat. We want to submit that proposal. Hopefully, it comes through, and we would then be able to have some intervention on the ground to combat some of the coastal erosion that you're seeing, mainly in Dangriga and in Hopkins.
Wow.
I think the proposal in its entirety, I think it's for like $4.8 million, right, thereabout. And I think it would be a start. At least we're moving away from just talking about, listen, there are these nature-based solutions, because what was actually reported on, what was documented, it's not only hard engineering, it's not only to put up a seawall and say, we're protected, but also some nature-based solutions, how we do a level of reforestation along the coast. So this is what we're doing right now for some of the things that we've been seeing in the news for some time now. It is, I visited the area, I think, ending of last year, and if people haven't seen it, it is a very heart-wrenching situation.
It's tough. It is tough.
It is tough to see, and like I said, we want to move away from just talking about it and actually implementing some of these measures.
Now, Dr. Ryan, so this program or project is actually ongoing. Just started. What's the timeline for the project?
We're on a very short timeline.
Oh my
we have
goodness.
4 months to do this. Originally was a 10-month program. However, we did get a head start before it was approved, right? So the whole back end of the system with the Dataverse has already been built and deployed, right? So right now we're going to go into the stages of ingesting data into the system, and then the front end will be built. So.
And what do we hope to yield?
Again, a fully functional CRIS, Climate Risk Information System, that is available to the public. So anybody can go there, and anybody can look up any organization, or it can be in one of the 6 main information areas. So climate risk, adaptation, mitigation, finance, greenhouse gas inventory, or reporting structures, or finance. So it will add value. If you're an organization that wants to see where the financing is coming from, there's an information area where we list all the financing and where it comes, and list to how to apply. For informed decision making, again, the NCCO will use this. They will have access to it. They have to make these decisions every day. So it depends which organization is using it. But it's open to the public and to individuals and to organizations. However, like we said, some of the data is open data, and you can download it, and there's conditions of use, and there's some that isn't open data, where you can request access to it. Again, at the end goal is informed decision-making related to climate change.
All right. Well, we know that time is winding down. Let's get Dr. P into it once again. Dr. Palacio, some final words from you.
Yes. Just to thank Dr. Ryan and his team who put the proposal, finalized the proposal, and is getting the work done. We're extremely proud of you. And to let the country know that the University of Belize is we're doing things. We're on the cutting edge. We have faculty members who have access to and are doing cutting edge activities, and that the National University is being relevant. We are meeting our needs and leading the conversation in areas that are important to development.
All right, so there we go. So Dr. Gladden, Dr. Palacio, Dr. Ryan, guys, we're so thankful to have you in this morning. The conversation is very important. Again, climate change is everybody's business. This is one that you could actually now, we're trying to put together data so people could better understand the importance and how they can help to mitigate all these things. Thank you guys so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so we're about to take our final break of the morning. When we come back, we'll be wrapping things up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When something is good and you can save, that makes it even better. Like this guy, he buys Flex bundles using his promo credit. No worries when his primary credit is finished. He gets talk, text, and data for free. Or her, she calls her family internationally with her promo credit. And with data packages so affordable, she even does video calls. Smart continues to offer great deals and affordable promotions. As a small business owner, she saves when she uses her promo credit to call the other guys. All Smart customers enjoy more triple days and knowing they can use their promo credit, which just lasts longer. Smart, bringing people together.
It's almost lunchtime and Alice is getting hungry and forgot to bring cash. She remembers that eCash now has a geolocation feature in which she can easily view the eCash merchants near her, especially restaurants. Her co-workers also ask her to order food for them.
Chicken chow mein, please, and a Coke.
The merchant sends her the payment link. She taps confirm, and within a few minutes, her food is delivered. Alice then views her transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made. Then taps the split the bill button where she selects the unevenly option and moves the bar to the desired amount per person. The request is then sent to her friends. Her colleagues accept the request and are ready to enjoy their meals. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash make Alice's life a whole lot easier.
Hi everyone, my name is Gabriela and my name is Kieran. Today we're going to be learning how to put on makeup.
Connecting people. Creating memories. Sharing a smile. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
If you're looking for low-cost television advertising, have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you save valuable time and money. Call us today at 223-0146 or visit us at our offices on Pony Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
Reduce your risk of viral illness like the flu or the coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing or sneezing with a tissue. Throw away, then wash hands immediately. Avoid close contact with anyone who has the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or nearest health center and share your travel history. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're actually out of time, but we have been informed that we actually have a clip of the arrival of the President of Guatemala.
Yes, yes.
President Giammattei.
Yeah.
His arrival, and of course we'll be putting that up on screen. He's about to exit his transport and make his way to the SICA summit. And of course, we do welcome him to Belize. And there he is.
There he is. Just shows so much unity.
Yes. You know, one of the things about our country, of course, it is with much respect. And what you're seeing there is actually him showing the strength to leave his country, to come to his neighboring country, to attend the SICA summit, and to find out how we're able to make bilateral agreements together and move forward as Central Americans.
Yeah, his arrival just speaks volumes to how important it is that we have to gather here together as a union and show solidarity as our you know how we show solidarity for our Caribbean brethren, we show solidarity for our Central American.
For our Central American folks. But that's all the time that we've got for today. It was great to have you in this morning. You know what I love so much is that as much as you've got choices, you actually wake up, you open your eyes, and you start your morning right with us. And with that said, if you've got any questions, any concerns at all, you could always drop us a line at oye@channel5belize.com.
Of course, John. And of course, you can always catch us on our social media pages at Open Your Eyes BZ on Facebook and as well as OYE Belize on Instagram.
Definitely. And just before we go, just before I say, you know, the eyes, your minds, I've got one final birthday shout out. There is a special co-worker of mine, a special lady, Shanna Arnold. Her birthday is today. Shanna is also my Rotary sister. She is such a cool person, smart, beautiful. From your Sakisme brothers and sisters, happy birthday. We love you so very much. Do enjoy your day. And of course, please keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
We'll see you soon. Do enjoy the remainder of your weekend. Don't forget that this weekend is actually the Belikin Naruta Maya weekend. It kicks off tomorrow morning. We know that folks will be in San Ignacio for the kickoff of that tomorrow morning very early. So do enjoy, all right? And make sure that you enjoy your day, Belize.
Goodbye, Belize.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.